In this video, you're going to learn one of the most powerful Excel functions that was ever created, which is VLOOKUP. We're going to cover what VLOOKUP is. We're going to look at an exact match and approximate match. We're going to understand these with some real world examples and some of the common mistakes. And if you wait till the end, I'm going to also give you a pro tip. By the end of this video, you'll be able to use VLOOKUP confidently. So let us first look at the syntax of VLOOKUP. So what does VLOOKUP stand for? It stands for vertical lookup. So similar to VLOOKUP, there's also a HLOOKUP, which is horizontal lookup. So it searches for values in the leftmost column. So if you have a data set, it is going to search for values starting from the first column of the table and returns information that is from another column to the right of that. And this is one of the challenge for VLOOKUP, and that is why the XLOOKUP, which is a new formula in Excel, there's a video that I will also create on XLOOKUP a little later. Think of it like this, okay? So you give Excel an ID, or it could be a product name, an employee number, whatever. It is going to give you the related value automatically. That is what it does. So here is an example. So for example, I have the employee ID here, the name, department, all of that. So if I put in the lookup value, so in this case, the lookup value is the employee ID. If I put that employee ID, it is going to give me the name, the department, and the salary. So that is what it does. It looks up the value, and for that value, whatever is the thing that you need returned to the right of that, that is what it is going to do. Okay. So now let's jump into Excel and let's look at the example. So in this case, I have an employee data set. You can download this file to practice along. The link to download this file is in the description below. Please go ahead and download it and practice along. So I have this data set for employees, and I want to find out what is the data. And if you see here, employee ID, so this is the lookup value that I'm going to use. This scenario, I'm going to add a new tab or a sheet. The shortcut key to do that is Shift F11. Let me move that to the employee data. And for a particular employee data, maybe let us start from here, or let me copy just this data for us to understand this easy. And I'm going to paste that Control-C, Control-V. Now, for a particular employee ID, so this is my employee ID. So for a particular employee ID, I want to find out the name. Control-C, Control-V. Okay. For example, employee ID 111. So this is the employee ID, and your manager, your boss, your colleague, whoever says that you want to find out what is the name for this particular employee. I'm sure you have a large data set. Just for our understanding, I've kind of made this into small. So for this employee ID, I want to find out what is the name. So now let's look at the syntax. So is equal to VLOOKUP. So I type it is equal to VLOOKUP and it pops up. How do I select this? No space bar, no enter. Press the tab key. So press the tab. The lookup value. What are you going to use to look up? Imagine if you didn't have the VLOOKUP, what would you do? Right? You're going to say Control-C. Then what? Control-F. So what is it that you're using? You're using this. So this is your lookup value. So I click here, Control-C. And then what would I do? Control-F for find. Control-V to paste. Find next. Okay, so that's what it is. Find next over here. So this is the employee ID. For this is the name. Control-C, Control-V. So if the VLOOKUP is not there, this is what you would do. What are you using? You're using the employee ID. So this is your lookup ID. So it's equal to VLOOKUP once again. So it's equal to VLOOKUP. What is my lookup value? This is what I'm going to use to find, comma. Where is this available? This information is available in this range table ID. So I'm going to say Control Shift right, Control Shift down. It selects the complete table array. I'm just going to move on. So it is selected the table. First, what am I going to use to look up? Next, where am I going to search for that? So that's my table array. Comma, column index is what do I want it to return? In this case, I wanted to return the name. So if I count here, right? So this is column index 1, this is 2, and this is 3. So the column index for this case is 3. For now, we're just going to use always 0 at the end, which means we want an exact match. False is 0, or I can select it this way, or I can just put 0 at the end. Always remember, we are going to start with false. We will also understand little examples on approximate match. So what would this do? If I close bracket, hit enter, you will see I get Myra Edwin. That's the employee. Now if I change this to 11103, for example, you will see Tushar Gokhale. That's what I have here. So based on this lookup value, it is returned this information for me. Now let us say I want to find out the title. Okay. So what is the formula? I'm going to say is equal to VLOOKUP. What is my lookup value? This one, comma. Where am I going to look for this information? In this complete table, comma. In this case, what do I want? I want the title. So title is in which column now? So that's 1, 2, which is in column B, but the column index or the number for that is 2 because it is in column, or in this table, in this range of cells, it is in the second column. So I'm going to say I need title, which is 2, comma, 0 at the end, close bracket, hit enter. So I've got the title. Now, this is for 1, but if I wanted multiple, okay, what do I, for example, your manager says, let's delete all of this, okay. And the moment I delete that, you can see an NA, right? So so let's assume 1, 2, I'm just picking some random number employee IDs like this. Okay? Now, I want to find out the name for each of these. I want to find out the name and the title for each of these. What would I do? So is equal to VLOOKUP. I'm going to say this, comma. What is my table array? This is my table array. This is where I want to look for this information, comma. I want what first? I want the name. So what is the column index for this? If you said 3, absolutely right, comma, 0 at the end, okay, and you're done. I can drag it down and you will see I get this. This is how you will get multiple. Now let me show you for title. So is equal to VLOOKUP. This is my lookup value, comma. What is my table array? This entire thing is my table array, comma. I want the title. Title is which column index? 1, comma, 0. Hit enter. And now, oops, second column index 1 is the employee. So drag it down or double click and you get the title. Now here is the first challenge that you will have, which is, for example, so this is 124, right? Let me just make it 101 and you will see moment I do that, I'm getting an NA. NA means that this value does not exist, or it says it is not available in your data set. But you know for sure it is there. Now why did this happen? This is because your range is not long. Right? There are 3 kinds of referencing in Excel. One is an absolute reference, one is a relative reference, and third is a mixed reference. We're going to understand absolute reference and a relative reference for you. So what do we mean by a relative reference? So just to understand this, let me say I have some numbers here 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have some numbers here 10, 20, 30, and 40. Now if I want to multiply this, so is equal to this multiplied by this. Okay. So see here in the formula bar, what do I have? L6 multiplied by M6. If I drag it down, what is going to happen? L6 will change to L7, M6 is going to change to M7. Why? Because the formulas by default are relative. It is going to relatively change, which is a good thing. Or else imagine you'll have to keep writing the formula every time. But now since it is relative, you just have to drag it down and it is going to work. So here's another thing. I'm going to delete this one. Let's assume I want to multiply each of these numbers by 10. I want to multiply each of these numbers by 10. So I'm going to say is equal to this multiplied by this. If I drag it down now, what you will see what will happen. You will see L6, that's correct, multiplied by M4. But when I drag it down, L6 changes to L7. So if I go here, you will see L6 is changed to L7, M4 is changed to M5. While you want the left hand side, the M, right, the 1, 2, 3, 4 to change, you want something to be fixed. You want it to be absolute. What is that? L7 should be fixed or it should be absolute. how do we fix it? Okay, let me show you. Is equal to this multiplied by this. And now what should I fix? I always want M4 to be there, but L6, L7, that should keep changing, but I want my M4 to be fixed. How do I fix it? I'm going to select M4. You see here, I've clicked inside M4. I'm going to press F4. F4. And now you will see there is a dollar which comes, which means it is an absolute reference or a fixed reference. Which means when I drag it down, L6 is going to relatively change because we have not put dollars or we have not fixed it, but M4 is going to be fixed. So if I drag it down now, you will see that. If I come to the last one, you will see, and that is what happened here. Okay, let me press Ctrl Z, go back all the way. Okay, and that is what happened here. Now, when I started here, if I go to the formula here, you will see, okay, what happened. It is looking for this blue in this range of cells, which is A2 to C501. But when I dragged it down, it changed to G8, which is okay because we wanted the employee ID to keep shifting, but we didn't want the table to move. You see here, it has moved one step down. If I come here, you will see it has moved one more step down, one more row down. And when it came here, what happened? It was looking for this information here, but where do you see 101 is on the top. So what should be fixed here? The employee ID will need to keep changing. This employee ID will need to keep changing because I want it to work when I drag it down, but I don't want to move the table. The table should be fixed. And there are two ways to do it. First, let me show you the manual way. Another way is by giving it a name. So how do I fix this now? Here, what do I wanted to fix this, right? This, which is A2. My table array should be fixed. A2 to C501. How do I fix it? One is either I can select individually and press F4, but I'm going to select this complete thing. I'm using my mouse to select this complete, and I'm going to press F4. Now the entire thing is fixed. Now when I drag it down, you will see I'm able to get the answer. That's why the range or the table is not moved, it is fixed. Similarly for this, how do I fix it? I'm going to select this range, press F4, hit enter, and now I can drag it down. So this is to ensure that you fix your table, especially when you're working with VLOOKUPs. Wherever you're dragging formulas, check that which of these needs to be locked. That's important. You see, in this case, if I lock this, it is always going to look here, right? I don't want that. So that is why this is the G7, which is my employee ID. When I drag it down, it is going to keep changing. But then my lookup, the lookup or the table array, has to be fixed. That should always look up here. So this is next. Now, let's assume there's a scenario where this employee ID doesn't exist, so maybe 007. Okay, so you will see you have this, and sometimes this is confusing for people. So how do you get rid of this and maybe give a custom message? Okay, for that you can use the if error function or if any. You can use either of them. If any. So what is the value and what is the value if it is an element? So you can write your VLOOKUP separately and then copy and paste it here, or you can directly do it. So let me show you by writing it separately. So here, right, I have this VLOOKUP here. Once I have this, now I'm going to use the if any. So I can just go here before the formula, if any. So this is the value if it is not there. So if you see here, the syntax is if any, there is a value, comma, value if any. So if there is a value, it will give that, comma, if it is not there, does not exist. Okay. I'm putting that in double quotes because it's a text. Okay. Now I have this. If I drag it down, you will see I get a little more customized error message, which is it does not exist. Let me show you how do you write this from if any. So is equal to if any. First, now I need to write my VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP, what is my lookup value? This, or let me first copy these here. Okay. Control C, Control V here. and let me copy these also. Now is equal to, I'm going to start with if NA, the value. The if value if NA, if it is NA, that is the second part. The first one is the VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP, this is my lookup value, comma, my table, like how we were doing earlier, table array, comma, what do I want first? I want the name, right? I want the name first, so that's column index 3, comma, 0 at the end, close bracket. Now again, before I drag it down, what do I need to fix? I need to fix this. So I'm going to select this F. So I'm done with my VLOOKUP. Comma. The moment I put a comma, you will see value of NA, and then here what do I want? Not there. Okay. In double quotes, so close and hit enter. And now wherever it has the information, it will find that, and wherever the employee does not exist, you're going to get that not there error. So this is how you can customize your if NA error. Now here, instead of not there, what you can do is you can write another VLOOKUP formula if you have data in different tables. Okay, just for our understanding, let me do this. Okay, I'm going to split this into two different tables. Okay, and maybe from these set of employees, I'm going to put them in a different table. Okay, I'm going to put them here. So now I have data in two, and this will work even if the data is in two different sheets. If it is in two different workbooks, it will still work. Okay, now let's delete this and let me start with if NA again. If NA VLOOKUP. So basically I will write VLOOKUP 1, which is going to use this as my table. The other VLOOKUP I'm going to use this as my table. But the lookup value is going to be the same. Okay. So lookup value is this, comma, first table array is this, comma, what do I want it to return? The name. So I will say 3, comma, 0 at the end. What do I need to log? A2 to C. Okay. Press it. Now let's just, okay, and if it is not there, I'll just put, if it is NA, not there, right? So sharp, whatever. Drag it down. 11A. Yeah, what did I log? Oops, I logged, if you see here, I logged the lookup value as well. I'll remove that. F4, hit enter. Did I? Okay, and let me press F4 again. That's the mixed reference I was talking about. I don't want any of those. And now if I drag it down, you will see Jaini Ravi, etc. 118. Let me change this to 121. Moment I do that, you will see I'm getting a not there. Why? Because I put the not there here. But we know that this employee exists, but in a different table. We know that the employee exists, but in a different table. Which table? This table. So how do I do this now? So I'm going to go back here. Instead of not there, I'm going to change this to what? Another VLOOKUP. So this is how you can look up value from two different tables. So lookup value is going to be this, comma. Now my table array is going to be this, comma. My column index is what? I need the name. So 3, comma, 0 at the end. And close bracket again, hit enter. Now again I need to lock this. So I'm going to select my this table array I need to lock. So F4, hit enter. And if I drag it down, you will see I get the answer. So here what do I have? I have two different VLOOKUP. One VLOOKUP is looking up the value here. The lookup, see the lookup value is the same, but it is looking up from two different tables. One is on the left and one is on the right. This can be in different sheets and it will still work. I also spoke about naming. Okay, so how do I give a name for a range of cells? Okay, I could either select the headings or I can ignore the headers. In this case, I'm going to ignore the headers, select this. I've selected this range and I want to give a name for this range. What would be a good name? I will call this as EMP table 1. This is EMP table 1. What did I do? I selected the range, went to the name box here, type the name and hit enter. Please remember it should not begin with a number and it should not contain a space. Okay, hit enter. So I've given it a name. How do I know I've given a name? I can click outside. If I click on this arrow here, the down, once again, let me click outside. If I click on this arrow, you will see it gives me the name employee table 1. Similarly, now I want to give a name for this table, so I'm going to say control. Okay, and then how do I give a name once again? I've selected the range, then I go here and I'm going to call this as EMP table TABLE2. Okay, how do I know it's there? If I click here, now you will see EMP table 1, EMP table 2. Now I'm going to rewrite this with using the reference of the table. So is equal to VLOOKUP. Okay, if I want looking up from two different tables, then I can start with if and a, but let's just do a simple VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP, this is my lookup value, comma, and given a name for this table. What is it? Table 1. You will see I have EMP table. So it is, if you see, it is selected that complete range, comma, a reference. I want what name? So that's 3, comma, 0 at the end, and hit enter. Now if I drag it down, it is still going to work, right? Yeah, 121 is not there here, but it is available here. Why? Because the table name is fixed, right? So even if I go here without locking it, you will see without locking it, it will still work. 109. If I do 101, you will see I'm still getting it even without locking. Why? Because when you give a name for a range, it becomes the fixed reference. If I want the title, so is equal to VLOOKUP. This is my lookup value, comma, my table is table 1, comma, what do I want? Title. Title is in the second column, 2, comma, 0, and you have your answers. So this is how you can fix your or give a name for your range, and then you can call that or you can reference that anywhere. Please remember, this will not work in different workbooks, right? So if I have employee table in a different workbook, you cannot reference that in this workbook. Okay, so that's something that you have to remember. If it is in the same workbook, it will definitely work. Also, tell me in the comments how else can you use this newly learned feature of giving a name. I'm not given it a table name, because when you convert it into a table, there are little challenges with working on formulas. I'm not doing that. I'm just giving it a named range. How do I remove that? I can go to the formulas, or I can see that if I go to the formulas panel and click on the name manager, you will see all the names that I have used. I have some employee data, EMP table 1 and EMP table 2. It gives you the value. What does it refer to? You can delete it from here if you don't want to use it. Okay. So that's how you give a name for your range. Now, okay, let's add some more values. Okay, what is it that I want? I want to add. Let's add a new sheet. I want to make a duplicate of this. So I'm just going to drag it there, okay. And maybe something. I'll delete the joining date. Maybe okay, the state and the date. So I have lesser data. Okay. Now again, how do I give a name for this entire table? Control Shift down, Control Shift right. I'll call this as all EMP. Okay, all employees. And from here, let's assume now I have the employee ID and I want to get all of this. Okay, and this is the advanced feature in Excel that I was talking about. For example, for this employee ID, okay, for this employee ID, I want to get the title, name, gender, all of that. Okay, I want to get all of these. I want to auto-fit them. So what do? I select this data, Alt HOI, okay, Alt HOI, and you can auto-fit. Again, what do I want? I want to get all of these. I want the title, name, gender, all of these. I don't want to write multiple VLOOKUP. I want to write one single VLOOKUP and get all of these details. So this table, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there are 12 columns that I have. Okay. So is equal to VLOOKUP. This is my lookup value, comma, what is the name for the table? All employees. Select, comma. What did I want? I don't want to write multiple VLOOKUP. I want to return this with a single VLOOKUP. So I'm going to use a special bracket, which is the curly bracket or the flower brackets. What and all do I want? I want title. So title is column 2, comma 3, comma 4, comma 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think I said 12, right? Close curly brackets, comma 0 at the end. and now with one VLOOKUP formula you will get all of this. What is it that I did differently? Just these curly brackets, and I used all the column index inside them. And this does not have to be in an order. I can reverse the order. I can put 2, 6, 9, 10, whatever. Based on the headers here, you can plan that accordingly. With curly brackets, you can use or you can retrieve multiple data with one single VLOOKUP. Let me know in the comments if you knew this earlier. If not, you can also say wow in the comments. So this is how, what and all did I do? Let me show you once again. So I'm going to call this right here 116, so is equal to VLOOKUP. This is my lookup value, comma, I've given a name for my table. If not, what do? I need to select, right? Select it, comma. Moment I select this complete table, you will see since I've given a name, it is taking it automatically, comma, curly brackets. Let's assume I want only the name and department. So that's going to be, name is going to be 3. So in curly brackets 3. I don't want the gender, I want the department. So that's 5. I don't want designation, I want the salary. So that's going to be 7. Close curly brackets, comma, 0 at the end, hit enter, and now you will see I get the data accordingly. So this is how you can use the curly brackets to get multiple data. Okay. Now let us also look at understanding why or when do we use the approximate match. Here are two scenarios where we are going to be using the approximate match. So in this case, we want to look at what is the grade, and here we want to calculate the commission. So this is where we would have to use the approximate match. Now for each of these marks, let's assume I want to give a grade. We use is equal to VLOOKUP. Okay. What is my lookup value? This is my lookup value, comma. What is my table array? This, right? Comma. What do I want it to return? This grade. So that's column number 2, comma. If I put a 0 at the end, okay, which is an exact match. So what is it going to do? Let us understand, right? So when we are looking for an exact match, it is going to look for the 17 in this range of cells. It is going to look for an exact match, and you will see that it does not exist. And imagine if we had to do this, we will have to have a grade for each of these marks. So another way to do this is we can use the if formula or the if function to do that. But without the if, this is a easier way to get the grade. So we don't want an exact match. What do we want? We want an approximate match. So in approximate match, what it is going to do is it is going to look for this value. So now if you see 17 is below 40. And it is going to give you the lower value, not the higher value. So it is not going to give you grade C, but it is going to give you grade F. Because the value is between 0 to 40. So it is going to give you the lower value. So let me show you how this works. So is equal to VLOOKUP. This is my lookup value, comma. The table array is going to be this. I need to lock this. I'm going to select this, press F4, comma. What do I want? I want the second column index, comma. I want an approximate match. So this is where I will put either 1 or I'm going to say true, close bracket, and now you will see, drag it down, and for each of these 73. So do we have anything which is A plus? If it is about 90, it is going to be A plus. We don't have anybody. Let me just change the score manually 91, and you will see moment I do that, it gives me the grade for that. Let us look for this commission. Okay, and I want to calculate what is the commission that we are going to give them. So again is equal to VLOOKUP. This is my lookup value, comma, the sales amount. So I'm going to select, this is my table array. This is where I want it to look, comma. What is it I wanted to return? The commission. So that's column index 2, comma. I want an approximate match. So either I put 1, close bracket, hit enter. 1 is approximate match. There again, why is this? Why do we get an NA here? If I go here, you will see the table is moved. What do I need to do? Ensure that we lock that. What do I need to lock? D3 to E6 by pressing F4, and I'm doing this in the first cell, not in between, right? And then I can drag it down. At the value is in decimal. How do I change that into percentage? Is by clicking this And if I want decimal points, I increase the decimal points this way. So this is how you can use the approximate match to get your values. Like I mentioned, you can also use the if, but sometimes without the if, because again, you will have to write multiple nested ifs. Here, you don't have to do that. You can use the approximate match to get those values. I hope you were able to learn something about VLOOKUP through this. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comment section, and I'll be more than happy to answer them, provided that I know the answers to them. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that I can continue to create more long format content for you guys. Thank you so much once again.